just know you'll get good sleep eventually. I'm not there yet, but I hear it's a thing and we will sleep again. Bye guys, see you in the next one. She looked like she waved. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole. If you're new here, hello, welcome. I am a new mom of a now 6-month-old baby girl named Sage, and she is screeching in the background. So if you hear that, it is not a pterodactyl. It is my child. She's a dinosaur. I'm really excited because today's video, I'm gonna be telling you guys the things that I think you should know about babies before becoming a parent that we did not. All of this was like total shock to us. We knew nothing going into this. It's not like you don't have to like pass an exam to become a parent. You just have a baby and boom, you're parents. I wanted just to share some fun things that you may want to know as well as you progress into the journey of parenthood. All right, before we get started, make sure you thumbs up this video, subscribe, and let's hop right in. All right, so I got a list here on my phone. It's actually quite a long list, so I had to narrow it down. If you guys have not watched the things that I wish I knew before getting pregnant video, I will link that here. That has some fun things in there too, and I did touch on some baby things, but this one is gonna be all about babies and just some things that I think you should know as a new parent. Or maybe this is your second child and you're still figuring things out, because I'm sure that's gonna be us. First thing I had no idea about was cluster feeding. And maybe that's self-explanatory, like cluster feeding. It means it's a cluster of feedings. I didn't even know that was a thing with newborns. We had Sage, we're in the hospital room. She's not even like a few hours old yet. Matt is getting water or ice or something in the hallway, meets another dad, and he's like, oh, like, congratulations. They're chatting, goes, has your baby started cluster feeding yet? And Matt's like, no, like, our baby's an angel. Like, she's sleeping fine. What are you talking about? And then he comes back, tells me about this, like, said cluster feeding. Moments later, boom, cluster feeding. So basically what I found out afterwards, it's what the baby does to help bring in your breast milk. So if you're breastfeeding, cluster feeding helps just promote the milk to come in, basically, because in the beginning you're just giving them colostrum, which is so amazing, full of so many nutrients, but it's like this clear yellow, like, I don't know if it's yellow, but like yellowish liquid. It's not milk yet. So the cluster feeding is basically them feeding on demand, like I want to say every 40 minutes. So like it takes them about 40 minutes on the boob to like figure out what they're doing to feed, and then you put them down and it's like 2 seconds later, they're hungry again. So you're just feeding around the clock. I don't know when the cluster feeding ended. I feel like I'm still back into the cluster feeding, but now it's an hour and a half because she's just teething, and breastfed babies tend to just feed on demand. They're just hungry all the time. They snack a lot. So I'm just a constant cow over here. Anyways, cluster feeding, had no idea what it was. It was definitely a bit of a shocker because I knew breastfeeding was demanding of your time as a mom, but I didn't really know it was like back to back all day long. So yeah, cluster feeding, there's a purpose to it, but it is kind of a pain in the butt when it's happening because you're like healing and you have this baby attached to your boobs 24/7. It's not something, an exaggeration that moms say. It's like actually your baby is attached to your boobs for cluster feeding. Okay, so next thing is swaddling. So I feel like we've all heard about swaddling, but what I didn't know is really why we swaddle. Now, some babies don't like swaddling. I've heard like different pros and cons about swaddling. Sage had to be swaddled. And the reason people swaddle is because babies have this natural reflex that will startle them and wake them up when they're sleeping. By swaddling them, their arms are more confined to them so they don't do like this. And I can't remember if I talked about this in my things that I wish I knew before becoming pregnant video, but if I did, here's a refresher. Basically, you swaddle your baby to help prevent this, like the reflex that they have when they're sleeping. It's like an automatic thing and it wakes them up. And it's kind of like a little hug, you know, they're all tight in the womb and stuff. Some babies like to be swaddled with their hands next to their face. You can swaddle babies with their arms out. We swaddled Sage with her arms in probably until about 3 months, until she could start rolling over, and then it's safe to have their arms out so that they can roll themselves back or like lift themselves up. But yeah, swaddling is amazing. For us, it's helped Sage sleep better. Even now, we still swaddle her body as more of a blanket. Yeah, anyways, I didn't really know why they swaddled. I thought it just looked cozy. Actually, I thought it looked horrifying. I was like, that looks like my worst nightmares, being trapped like this in a blanket, but they love it, you know? Every baby is different. Sage likes it. Babies cannot regulate their body temperature. So whether it's during bath time or when you're dressing them, you just want to be mindful that they cannot regulate their temperature like we can. Basically, heat will escape them. Like you need to keep them either warm or cool. Their body has trouble automatically doing it. I don't really know the science behind it. I just know that if you're giving them a bath, you want to make sure to warm them up really quickly afterwards, skin to skin. You can breastfeed them or bottle feed them right after and make sure they're nice and warm. Even with like clothing, my rule of thumb, and I think I saw this somewhere, but this is just what we do. I always, like, if we're going, say, out for a hike and it's chilly out, I always make sure that she has one more layer than I do. So for instance, if I'm like, oh, it's kind of warm outside, I'm just gonna wear a sweater, no jacket, I'm good. Sage will wear like an undershirt onesie and a nice warm sweater jacket kind of thing. And then she's usually in her carrier or her stroller, which is also insulated and warm. And then we'll always bring a blanket, and she's always wearing a hat if it's cool outside. So just because obviously heat will escape their head, just like it does for us. Yeah, same thing if it's hot, you don't want your baby to overheat. So just being aware that they don't really have their own like automatic heating and cooling system, you have to do it for them, is important for safety reasons and making sure your baby is comfortable. Okay, this next one. Babies, like newborns, make so much noise at night. I know now why some parents are like babies sleeping in their crib at 2 months old. It's not because they're horrible, they're bad people, because you can't sleep. Like it's like they're making every kind of animal noise. It's like a little pig grunting all night long. And I didn't realize that newborns were so noisy. You think they just like fall asleep and they're quiet, they're silent, they're just these peaceful little nuggets. No, they're like making so much noise that you think any moment they're gonna wake up, but they don't. That's just them sleeping. So I learned very early on not to, like when I would hear Sage making grunting noises, not to be anticipating her to wake up. Like in the beginning, I would just stay awake because I thought she's gonna wake up any second, and then an hour would go by and she's sleeping peacefully. And I'm just like, oh, and now she's up, and I've been up for an hour waiting for her to get up. So then I kind of told myself, ignore the grunts. She'll, like, if she cries, that's when she's awake, you know? But yeah, if you are a really light sleeper, you may need to have your newborn sleep a little bit further away from you because they are so noisy. It's insane. Okay, this is one that I didn't realize until after I was already doing it, but baby wearing. So there's so many ways to wear your baby, even just holding your baby. Really, I read that it can really help reduce crying and also promote, I think it's called like calm alertness. Basically when they're just like awake, but not crying or fussy. And I totally agree with this because I feel like especially when she was like really fussy and her first, like when she's only a couple months old, she just like could not be put down for very long without like getting upset. And I just would end up wearing her all the time. So if I had to do things around the house, I would wear her. If I had to do emails, I would bring my laptop on the kitchen counter while she was sleeping on me or just chilling. And I would do that. And she just loved being on me, myself or Matt. And I just feel like it just calmed her down. And then, yeah, I found out later it also helps reduce crying. So if you have a fussy baby or you're just trying to get things done, try wearing them because it is a great like mom hack / just like thing I didn't realize was really important. And also it's a nice way to bond with your baby. You could also do like skin to skin, just like, you know, not wear clothes while you're baby wearing. And they just find it really, really relaxing. And I did that so much with Sage in the first few months. Okay, this one is about breastfeeding. So before I ever knew anything about breastfeeding, I had no idea that it's not just the nipple that they have to latch onto. It's like the boob. Like the more boob in the mouth, the better for a good latch. And I just had no idea. And actually the more boob, like it's not just like the nipple, it's like the areola and like as much of that in their mouth that you can shove in, the better. Like actually, it's going to help prevent like nipple soreness, and it's just going to teach them to get a better latch. Because yeah, if they're just sucking on the end of the nipple, you are going to have the most raw, painful nips of life. Like it's not fun. And you're just not going to be able to keep up with it. I feel like if we didn't get a good latch the first week of breastfeeding, I would have had scabs on my nipples. Like that's how painful it gets when they're just on the edge, you know? The next thing that I had no idea about is that when Sage first came home, like the first couple weeks, she was sneezing a ton. And I thought, like, does she have a cold? Does my precious newborn have a cold at like 10 days old? Like, what is going on? And it was actually just mucus, them clearing the mucus. So like my midwives would often ask, like, is she sneezing a lot and stuff? Like that's a good thing. She's clearing out the mucus just from being in your womb. Yeah, so if you're like worried about your newborn sneezing a lot, like obviously make sure like they're okay, there's no fever or anything. But I just noticed that Sage was sneezing a lot, and it kind of worried me at first until I knew like what it actually was. And she was just getting out that mucus. Sounds lovely. Okay, this one, pee and poop schedule. So I found this really, really helpful. There's so many apps that you can track for their naps, pees, poops, diaper changes, and it's really helpful for both parents, I think, to kind of have both be on the app so you know like who did what at what time. Especially in the beginning, it's so important to track that stuff. So one thing that I found really helpful is that for the first week, the rule of thumb is 1 poop, 1 pee on day 1, day 2, 2 pee, 2 poops, day 3, 3 poops, 3 pees, like you get the idea. So, and then after that, I think it's pretty much like, it doesn't have to be that many a day, but it's important to track that. And I just thought, I had no idea about that. Yeah, it was just like an easy rule of thumb to make sure that they were eating and eliminating, everything was running well on that side of things. I don't know if that's just like the standard rule of thumb, but it's what we were told, and I've read it a few places as well, but I'm not an expert. Always talk to your doctor. But yeah, I just thought that was easy to remember. If we were on day 3, we were expecting 3 poops and 3 pees. Okay, this next one is a couple of things. It's about babies' bodies. So a few things that I was a little surprised and I just was like worried, like, is everything okay? Is their legs are very bowed when they're born. Just because, you know, they're squished up in there. So I just thought like her legs aren't looking straight. Is there something wrong? And my doctor assured me like, you want to check because it can indicate something that you want to make sure you get fixed early on so it doesn't cause issues later. But it's very normal if your baby has bowed legs. The other thing is their bellies, their cute little bellies. If you ever notice like a newborn, their bellies are kind of puffed out on the side. And basically they have no abs. So they don't have those muscles to hold in all their little organs and stuff. So it kind of just like, you know, and until they develop those ab muscles, it really is just kind of poking out. So just another thing that you observe as a new parent. And then last but not least, the other thing was, she had a bit of like swollen nipples, like under, not like her actual nipple, but like underneath her nipple, there was like some swelling, and I was also concerned about that. And I was basically told that it's just like a hormonal thing from mom. Sage still has a little bit of it, but it's pretty much gone. So they just felt like little swollen balls underneath like her breast tissue. So I just want to mention that in case you want to know some things that I was told about baby anatomy. But at the end of the day, if you ever think that something is off with your baby, like you are your best, like just use your intuition. Like anytime I thought there may be something wrong, I would always just ask my doctor or my midwives and just to clarify what it is. And also learn as a new parent, you don't know these things. Like the other thing is baby toe nails can often look like they're ingrown, and that's totally normal as well. I did notice that with Sage's toes, and I'm like, oh my God, is that gonna grow in? Is that painful? And that's totally normal as well. But yeah, if you're like concerned, obviously go check it out. I'm not here to tell you like, it's fine, don't go to the doctor. Like always check things out if you're unsure. Okay, the next thing is something I am still navigating through and probably will as Sage continues to grow, is leaps. So there's a book actually called Wonder Weeks. I've mentioned it in my 3 to 6 month baby must-haves video. It's a great resource for new parents. They also have an app, and it basically talks about different developmental like milestones, also known as leaps, that your baby will go through. So right now she is going through, let me just pull up my app. So right now, Sage is going through her 5th leap in her mental development, which is known as the world of relationships. And this means that Sage will start to perceive relationships between objects, people, including distance. She's getting that separation anxiety with me. If I enter a room, she cries because she wants to be with me. She is noticing, like, it talks about like different things that they notice. She can start to understand short daily commands like, no, don't do that, or we are going to eat. It just talks about different things that they may be going through, and like, it's very accurate. And what's cool too is that there's a little, I'll show a close up, but there's also a little calendar that shows like upcoming leaps, so you can kind of be aware and prepare for them. And they'll have like a little storm cloud on days like they're probably gonna be really fussy, and it's scary accurate. Like anytime she's just acting more fussy, needy, crying for no reason, I go on here and sure enough, she's in the middle of a leap. So it's really fascinating, and it's cool just to see what she's going through. Different leaps are changing sensations, patterns, smooth transitions, events. Her next one is going to be categories. So they're just like really fun, and it's fun to track them. It's also just helping me learn, and so I can support her and just know, oh yeah, okay, that's normal behavior. We're gonna get through this. This next one is actually one that Matt added to the list, and it is sleep regressions. I feel like before you're a parent, you may hear that these words pop up in conversation here or there, but they don't really have a full understanding of them until you're in it. And I always just thought, you know, babies maybe have trouble sleeping in the beginning, and then they learn to sleep, and then things just get like better and better. You know, maybe things are a little rocky at like terrible 2s, but I didn't know it was like this up and down scenario with their sleep. So the one I hear all the time and we've experienced is the 4-month sleep regression. So in the beginning, like that first month, you know, your baby's up all night, you're just surviving, trying to get sleep, naps when you can, and then they start to sleep better and you think, okay, we're out of the storm. And then all of a sudden, like month 3, they're like sleeping like a champ, you're getting 6-hour stretches, and you think, oh my gosh, I have the best sleeper ever. Like, I don't know what everyone's talking about. This newborn life ain't so bad. And then comes the 4-month sleep regression. Ours actually started at like before 4 months. I think that's just like a rough ballpark. It started showing signs with naps, like she was having a harder time going down for a nap. But it basically is, I know the 4-month is their brain is becoming more developed, more like an adult. When we sleep, it's easier for us to like be woken up and come out of like our REM cycle or our deep sleep. And they are navigating this. So it's harder for them to fall asleep and stay asleep. So you're often gonna get a baby who is up multiple times throughout the night. So she started waking up every 2 hours. And it was awful. And we were getting better. We've been doing some sleep training and stuff, which I'm gonna be talking about in a future sleep video. But yeah, sleep regressions. And guess what? There's not just one of them. There's multiple. So I don't even know when the next one is, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But you know, just when they're sleeping good, enjoy it, because it doesn't always last. But when it does come back, you know, just know you'll get good sleep eventually. I'm not there yet, but I hear it's a thing and we will sleep again. There you have it. Things I think every parent should know about babies that we did not, and we're still learning. I'm sure gonna learn new things next week about babies that I had no idea. I think the important thing is to not stress out. You're not gonna know everything about your baby all the time, but just do your research, learn as you go, pay attention to your little ones. They will teach you a lot, and you know, just give them lots of love, and that's all they really need. Sage is laughing I don't know if she's laughing or crying with Dad. I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna get her. Is Daddy being silly? Hi, honey. Yeah? We're matching today, kind of. So just a few things that you may want to know about babies, like I said, that we didn't. And she's at a fun age right now. You're a handful, but you're at a fun age, and she's drooling a lot, hence the baby bib. Can I say hi to everyone? Whoa. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I have a full motherhood playlist. I'll link down below for you guys if you guys want to check out my other mommy and pregnancy videos. And I am just sending all the positive vibes to all the parents, the moms, the dads watching this video. If there's something that you didn't know about babies before becoming a parent that really shocked you or surprised you, let me know in the comments down below. We can all learn together. And I'm gonna go feed this little one. Do you have anything to say? This looks like your cape. Super Sage! Sagey. Hi, so cute. Okay, say bye now. Bye. Bye. Okay, Mama's gonna have some water. Mama's gonna have some water. Bye, guys. See you in the next one. She looked like she waved.